Why did Director General Isao Shinomiya beat the ever-loving tar out of Kafka Hibino? Hello, my wonderful viewers, and welcome to another episode of Betty Adams Overanalyzes. Today we are going to take a look at what is going on in episodes 11 and 12 of Kaiju number 8. This will be full of spoilers from the beginning of the season of 1 of Kaiju number 8 to the end of the season 1 of Kaiju number 8, but we will only look at what clues there are in the anime to answer this question, so there will be no spoilers from the manga. If you don't want any spoilers, you can click away now. Check out the links below the video to get yourself a copy of my book, Humans Are Weird, I Have the Data, a collection of short, absurd science fiction stories. So, this is the situation. You have your Shonen Jump main character, who has a special dark power that is very dangerous. He keeps this a secret until he is forced to reveal it in a selfless act. All of his friends, of course, believe that he has the dangerous power under control, but the powers that be, represented by a group of military officers around a table, a board of directors if you will, have absolutely no guarantee that Kafka is not a kaiju plant, or even that if Kafka is human, if he truly has control over this power. All of the scientific evidence we see, all of the scientific evidence they've shown, strongly suggests that he is just a kaiju plant. So, up to here, you've got pretty standard Shonen Jump fare. Our beloved MC is in the lowest basement of the mysterious base, being treated like a science project in chains, when in walks the absolute unit of a man, Director General Isao Shinomiya, who proceeds to take out his kaiju punching gloves and punch the ever-loving tar out of the main character. Why? What was he doing this for? Well, again, Director General Isao Shinomiya aside, every single one of the higher-ups around that table of the board of directors wanted to kill Kafka, or tear him apart for scientific research. And in retrospect, for entirely reasonable reasons given their understanding of the situation. Assuming that Kafka was not just a plant by Kaiju number 9, they didn't know if Kafka was going to snap and go crazy, given the stresses he was under. To be frank, Kafka didn't know if he was going to snap and go crazy at any moment. And that is assuming, from the board of directors' perspective, that this random soldier is being 100% honest with them about what happened, and about actually being a human in the first place. Bringing this back to 100% of the people around that table wanted to kill Kafka, and they were being reasonable and rational given the knowledge of the situation they had. If this were a horror genre manga, their decision would have been logical and justified, and when it failed, there would have been horrific consequences. We, the audience, know that Kafka would never, but we only know that because he's the main character in a Shonen Jump anime. Without genre-specific assumptions, there is no reason to assume that Kafka is not a threat to the city of Tokyo and the world as a whole. Bottom line, in order for it to be a reasonable decision to keep Kafka alive, they had to have proof that the human mind could control the kaiju body under even the worst conditions. Otherwise, they are putting millions of innocent lives at risk by letting Kafka live. In this light, it makes sense that Director General Isao Shinomiya was the only one who was willing to give Kafka a chance. Why was he? Given the context clues, aside from the reasons he gave to the board of directors, i.e. that having the Kaiju number 8 power under control would be a great practical benefit, it's probably in no small part due to the fact that Kokoru, his daughter, came and asked him, all formal military channels already in use and apparently failing, daughter to father, Daddy, please give my friend a chance. So, Big Daddy Shinomiya did just that, and the way he gave Kafka a chance was by putting his own life on the line to prove to the other members of the board that Kafka was capable of controlling the kaiju even under the worst conditions. I repeat, I really want to drive this home. Isao Shinomiya risked his life to prove that Kafka had control of that body. And this is hardly idle speculation and theorizing. In episode 11, the bald second in command just straight up points out to Kokoru that the Director General is holding back. during the fight with Kaiju number 8, that he could have one-shotted Kafka at any time Kafka was still in his human form. So what was going on in that fight? What was going on in that chamber deep below Ariake Maritime Base? The Director General steps out of retirement and into the ring for combat once more. Isao could have killed Kafka in his human form instantly, but instead took multiple steps to assure himself that Kafka was ready to fight and would not just instantly die. Had Isao intended to kill Kafka in human form, he would have activated his gauntlets outside of the room, and then stepped through the doors and one-shotted Kafka while in human form, while in chains, as soon as the doors were sealed. Instead, Isao did these things. Step 1. Strides dramatically into the room and orders Kafka released from the restraints, so that Kafka, instead of being in deep gloom, slumped in his chains, is on his feet and alert. Isao starts the attack with a low-level attack with his sidearm that presumably would even be survivable by a human in order to test Kafka's transformation speed. Kafka, of course, transforms his arm faster than the bullets can fly to protect his human muscles, and Isao, satisfied that Kafka can transform fast enough to avoid permanent injury, Isao number 3 flat out tells Kafka that Isao doesn't consider him human, further putting Kafka on his guard. Then Isao flat out tells Kafka that he is going to kill him, and Isao slowly demonstrates that he is going to do it with these specific kaiju punching gauntlets made for the explicit purpose of punching kaiju. He slowly pulls them out of the box, activates them, puts them on with Kafka watching and panicking and getting more and more alerts this entire time. Isao number 5 then gradually cranks up the force of his attacks, still not going for the full kill shot he is fully capable of, dragging the fight out using his lesser attacks, showing how much control Kafka has. It's at around about this point in the fight that Second Command Baldy points this out to Kokoru what's going on. Which brings up point number 6. Fully knowing that Kokoru was a close personal friend of Kafka, Isao allowed her to be in a room where Kafka could both see her and hear her, therefore providing him both with moral support and an extra layer of control. And 7, Isao achieves his first goal, which was finding out the exact limit at which the human mind lost control and the kaiju mind took over, i.e. Kafka had to be pushed to the point where the human body was about to die before the survival instinct in the kaiju mind took over. And this was what Isao was waiting for. From here on out, Isao is fighting not Kafka Hibino, but the pure kaiju instinct of kaiju number 8. This is the dangerous bit. From here on out, Isao's goal was to survive long enough for Kafka to reassert control, at which point Isao could take this as proof to the board of directors that kaiju number 8 could be controlled as is, and it was not necessary to kill him and turn him into a weapon. Point 8. This entire time, Captain Narumi, who is even stronger than Isao, note when describing Isao, the second-in-command Baldy puts emphasis on him being past tense, was the strongest. Anyway, Narumi was waiting outside to step in the minute things got dangerous for Isao. Isao was never in danger of dying. The exact plan here, what he was going for, was to create a situation where Kafka believed that he could kill Isao, that he would kill Isao, and where under that belief, Kafka managed to regain control, thus proving to the board of directors that the human mind was in control even if this was a kaiju body, which every scientific measure they have says it is. And even if the body went into a full instinctive self-preservation rage mode, Kafka was still able to bring it under control. As a safety measure, the entire time Isao had an ace up his sleeve that ensured his own survival, i.e. the one guy who was currently stronger than him getting bored on the other side of the door. Which is a questionable security when you're facing a 9.8 kaiju in an enclosed space, but it was one that Isao was comfortable with. So, to summarize, Everyone who had a situation of power in the Kaiju Defense Force wanted Kafka dead. This was a perfectly reasonable and logical reaction from their perspectives because they do not know that he is a Shonen Jump main character. Director General Isao Shinomiya was the only one willing to give Kafka even a chance to live, but because of the very real risks involved, Isao had to prove beyond reasonable doubt to himself, to the board of directors, and even to Kafka and Kokoro that the human mind was in control of the kaiju power. The Director General did this by risking his own life and setting up a situation where Kafka had the greatest possible chance of succeeding in proving that he had control of the situation. So what do you think, my wonderful viewers? Do you agree with my analysis of the season finale of Kaiju number 8, season 1? Tell me what you think in the comments below. Hit that like and subscribe, and peace out, my wonderful viewers.
Escape into another world with the writings of author Betty Adams. 2 worlds, one of utter absurdity, one of dramatic tension, both alike in aliens absolutely astounded by human behavior. Humans are weird, short, absurd science fiction stories. Flying sparks, dragons, aliens, and things that go boom in the night.
Books available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kobo by Rakuten, Google Play Books, and at authorBettyAdams.com for a signed copy.